The 1.19 snapshots are out, and with them come tons of new items and blocks. One of them is the Skulk Shrieker. While everyone else was busy exploring their deep dark cities, I was interested in this. This little item, if you step on it, it screams and will spawn a Warden under the right conditions. And I wanted to use this to kill my enemies. Fatal, fatal vulture AFK. I'm gonna kill you with a Warden today. Fatal, fatal vulture AFK. I'm gonna kill him with a Warden today. Fatal vulture AFK. I'm gonna kill you with a Warden today. Are you ready to die? Oh gosh. Oh no! I didn't think you would come back to that. Yeah. Oh gosh. Okay, yeah, so I'm recording. His mic is broken so he can hear me, but he can't talk. We're doing Warden PvP. The clip you just saw, or you might not have seen it yet, you probably saw it already, was me wrecking him at Warden PvP because he had no idea what Warden PvP was. just like you. Now, if you don't want to get wrecked at Warden PvP because you failed to learn what it was, then make sure to watch this video. General concept is place down a Skulk Shrieker, walk over it. If your opponent places down a Skulk Shrieker, you might want to break it. But the point of Warden PvP is it's something that you don't expect, and if your opponent isn't ready for it, you can just absolutely destroy them with it. It's more realistic for SMP scenarios. But basically the general idea is you place down a Skulk Shrieker, you walk over it, that summons a Warden. If you don't want a Warden to be summoned, you can use a Netherite Hoe, or any hoe, but Netherite Hoe with efficiency is the fastest. If you want to get the Shrieker back, you use Silk Touch. If you break it before the Warden spawns, the Warden won't spawn, I've found out, and occasionally the Warden doesn't spawn at all. It needs to be nighttime if you're in the overworld to do this. I still need to test if it works in the nether or the end. I will do that test, and I'll probably say on screen whether or not it works in the nether or the end. This sort of PvP fits in really well. Oh, I have a lot of arrows in me. It fits in really well right between crystal PvP and sword PvP. You also want some wool, because placing down wool does not trigger a Warden. You also want spectral arrows. Those are very vital for this sort of thing. Just because when you get the darkness effect, you want to be able to see your opponent in the darkness. So if you shoot them with a spectral arrow, they glow for a little while. I don't know how long it is, because the spectral arrow doesn't say it on there, unlike the other tipped arrows. So let's go. Okay, so this video turned out to be relatively boring to watch, so instead I'm just going to explain the thought process here of what exactly I was doing and why. Okay, go. And I'm gonna mute this so that it's not confusing which of me is talking. So yeah, basically I just used potions. Sorry about the HUD thing, I don't really know how to make that go away. But yeah, basically I just started with potions, ran in, placed a Skulk Shrieker, and I walked over it to activate it. Immediately he ran, and we both got darkness at this point. And there was a lot of running in this video, so there wasn't a lot of action-packed PvP. But yeah, basically this started out, it was mostly just relatively normal PvP. Throughout the video I keep toggling hitboxes on and off, just because it's easier to see your opponent when there's hitboxes, but sometimes when there's too many arrows in your opponent it gets really confusing for me. Also, one thing I believe I forgot to mention in the video is that you want to use Swift Sneak on your boots. It's not compatible with Depth Strider or Soul Speed or Frostwalker, which I find that kind of dumb. I feel like that might get tweaked in the future, but so basically, a lot of this was just towering up and shooting while I watched him get chased by a Warden. That was a lot of this video. Towering is a very good strategy. You want to obviously like knock them off their tower, and you don't want to get knocked off your tower. I tower out of wool. It might not actually be worth it. It might be worth using a different block if possible, but I mean, it's not like it's that hard to get wool, and you're not going to be towering out of obsidian in most cases. I mean, if you can tower out of obsidian, then sure, I could see that as being a decent thing to do. But yeah, it's kind of hard to track your opponent like this because of the darkness effect. That's something I found out very quickly. But yeah. Basically I just ended up climbing his tower, trying to knock him out of it, and he went AFK here. Yeah, he does that a lot. He just goes AFK in the middle of a fight. I don't know why, but he does. Yeah, I tried to kill him with the Warden while he was AFK, but he came back in time. So yeah, and I'm just shooting blindly at this point. I'm just shooting into the darkness over there because I don't really know what else to do when I can't see him. I believe if you get far enough away from the Warden, then you stop getting the darkness effect even if you still have time left on it. Yeah, he was very distracted at this point. He wasn't really focusing on the fight, but yeah, just shoot him down. One thing while through here, this was a very long fight. I lost 2 totems throughout it, ran out of ender pearls decently quickly, and after a while he started trying to mine up my Skulk Shriekers every time I placed one. So basically what I ended up doing with that is that that's something that actually might end up happening in a real fight like this. So it could be a smart thing, just even if you're not trying to summon a warden, just place down a Skulk Shrieker, and if they mine it, that gives you time to either try to pearl away, run, or eat food or something of that nature. And that actually saved my life multiple times throughout here. I would just activate some Skulk Shriekers, and he would mine them, and I would try to kill him. He ended up sort of wrecking me here because he's better at regular PvP, but I'm much better at manipulating the Wardens, getting them to act how I want them to. But yeah, basically for this specific fight, there wasn't a lot to talk about, to be honest. Just ended up running out of resources after a while, and then he was hiding forever, and it took me forever to find him. And then I tried to get the Warden to kill him, but it came after me. So I ended up having to, like, try to get away. And right here, the Warden will sort of lock onto you eventually after you make too much noise. It just completely locks onto you. And unfortunately, because this is an experimental build and there aren't really any performance-based mods for it, he was lagging a lot. But yeah, once the Warden locks onto you, you can't get rid of it unless you like run. It's stuck on you. You can't try to throw or shoot something because then it'll trace it back to you, because throwing or shooting something makes a sound as well, but the collision is a stronger sound, so it tends to prioritize that one, but it's also very smart, so it'll figure out that it's you shooting it, so I couldn't get the Warden to go on him. So this was a very anticlimactic end to a very anticlimactic fight. Yeah, let's see. And I ended up just shooting him to death here because he was lagging, and it just did not work very well for him. He physically was unable to move, so I just shot him and decided I would end it. But yeah, that's it for this clip. If this was like an hour long, and I'm glad I just condensed it into like 5 seconds. Anyway, that's about it for this bit. So the conclusion for Warden PvP is that it's an interesting strategy that can be used to surprise your opponents and kill them quickly if they don't know what to do. The snapshots are still extremely experimental, so the Warden's behavior is likely to change over time, but I believe that even in the final build, this could be an interesting strategy, and even if it's not viable for SMPs, which I believe it will be, considering it's been proven by Ilmango and other YouTubers that you can farm these way easier than you can crystals, and they're pretty much just as deadly, albeit a little bit less controllable. Even if you can't use this in SMPs, this is still a really fun type of PvP just to mess with your friends. And one thing I forgot to mention in the video is that if you go into options, accessibility settings, you can turn darkness down, which will disable the pulsating effect you get when you have darkness, which is what I did in the video. But anyway, thank you everybody for watching. This is The Brain, signing off. Goodbye.